Well, everyone knows what this is. It's a Fender Stratocaster. It's a 63, and I've had it now for 33 years, I think. It's the guitar I always come back to. 60 guitars later, I always come back to this at some point, because it's just... It does everything you'd want from a Stratocaster, and it's never really let me down. It's one of 3 guitars I had when I joined XTC, and most of the Drums and Wires album was done on this guitar. Through a little Fender Tremolux amp, a 62 Tremolux amp, which was the only amp I owned at the time as well. So it's seen a number of years' service. You've got the typical surfy bridge setting. And then this gorgeous neck pickup. Which is good for all the bluesy stuff. And then the center pickup, which has got more of the Hank Marvin effect. Sorry, Hank, I didn't mean to. Didn't mean anything by that. No, it's you get the right Stratocaster, you've got a friend for life, really. And I've had maybe half a dozen of them, and this is the one I always come home to. This guitar that I've got here now they've become kind of almost like a holy grail, because there were so few of them. I didn't realise how few of these were produced. It's a 1964 Rose Morris model 1993, and it's a 12-string version of the Rickenbacker 330, similar in style to the one that George Harrison played in the movie Hard Day's Night. And when that was such a huge success, that the sound of the Beatles in 1964 in the UK, it was just the most incredible thing. So it must have come as quite a shock to the people at Rickenbacker at the time to realise exactly how their fortunes would change once it became obvious to the world that the Beatles were using Rickenbacker guitars, because they were little more than a small family business, mom and pop operation, really. George Harrison was given a 12-string, exactly like this, except his was a stereo. It had the two jack sockets, deluxe crushed pearl inlays, which I always thought would look absolutely gorgeous, with a bound fingerboard, and a sort of cat's eye sound hole, which everyone recognises as pure Rickenbacker now. And for some reason, the people at Rose Morris, who were the importers for Rickenbacker in 1964, decided, well, that's all very well, but we prefer an F-hole. We'd rather you did a nice neat F-hole instead of that horrible looking cat's eye thing, and just put dots in the neck, because people aren't going to, for whatever reason, they didn't want the crushed pearl inlay things. So people were expecting, and you had to pre-order them, and it was a 6-month waiting list or something ridiculous. That was the word on the street at the time. Yeah, you want a Rickenbacker, mate, you have to sell your house and wait 6 months, because they just, they only come over in bits and dribs and drabs. So when they did come over, here was this guitar no one had ever seen before. It was shaped like George Harrison's, but it didn't have all the fancy stuff on it, and it was mono. What's going on? But they still sold. I think they were 25 they sent over in August of 64. And the actual pickups and the wiring, the sound is exactly the same. I'm not allowed to quote any Beatles stuff, as you well know, but it's just sort of And that's the sound it makes. It's just priceless. And there are probably, less than 100 of these currently in existence. Because, of course, they were popular with The Who. Pete Townsend went through about half a dozen, I would guess. Sorry, Pete, I don't know the exact figure, but you did get through quite a lot of these. And which he probably regrets today, you know, because obviously he was well known for losing his temper and smashing his equipment up. And a number of these got splintered en route. I mean, God bless him, he probably sold more of them, almost as many of them as the Beatles did. But of course you couldn't get hold of them, because as soon as any came in, the Who were down the shop, stocking up with new ones.